Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the Online Series 9 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used a really fun team featuring support Surf Dragapult plus weakness policy Mamoswine, as well as some other stuff like Pixie Plate Taunt Tapu Lele and Choice Band Urshifu, so we'll be playing a couple more games with it today. The team was created by the same player that we have featured before, TSL Tang, who has created a lot of cool teams featuring the physical Tapu Fini, the physical Regieleki, and yeah, definitely has been one of my favorite team builders and players throughout the really last year, and they've shown me a lot of really cool teams. So thank you to them for continuing to innovate. I've linked a team report for it down in the description below, as well as their Twitter, so please go check them out. Today's video is sponsored by Into the AM. They are a super awesome apparel company. You've seen me wear their clothes on the channel before. I'm actually currently wearing one of their graphic tees right now. It's probably my favorite one from the ones that I have from them. And yeah, they make all kinds of different clothing ranging from basic tees to graphic tees to hoodies. So check them out, linked in the description below. You can use my affiliate link Into the AM/CyberVGC or use code CyberVGC for 10% off your next order. And they're running a bunch of deals right now. You can get 3 graphic tees for $60 total, and you can use my promo code on top of that to get a larger discount. And there's also free shipping on $75 and free returns as well. So yeah, I'm on their website right now at intotheam.com/cybervgc. They just restocked a lot of these graphic tees, so definitely get them while they're still available. And I've linked some of my favorite products from them down in the description below as well. So thanks to them for continuing to support the channel. All right, getting into the first match of the day, and it's going to be Metagross, Zapdos, Fini, Incineroar, Togekiss, and Porygon. Okay. By the way, I am moving today, and I also want to definitely adjust my setup a little bit. Sorry, I know that the laptop fan can sometimes be kind of loud. I hear it really loudly right now, so I'm going to try to work on that. But yeah, either way, thank you for bearing with me as always and for watching the content. I mean, Mamoswine's really good here, right? Like, the main thing I guess I'm nervous about is that Porygon. But I think, like, Dragapult into Mamo here is pretty solid. Because Mamo one-shots pretty much anything that's not the Porygon. I guess the fear is that they go, like, Porygon, Metagross lead turn 1 and just Trick Room. I mean, Trick Room's obviously a really big issue for us. They don't have any electric resist, so late game Aleki is pretty good as well. You know what's interesting, actually? Aleki, Lele, Dynamax Aleki. Because they don't have any electric resists. I think I want Lele for terrain control. I really expect them to lead, like, Porygon Incineroar is actually kind of what I'm expecting. So let's say that's the lead. I think I should lead Lele just because of the threat of, yeah, I'm gonna go Lele, Aleki, Dragapult, Mamoswine. Mainly because the Lele here is Taunt, and as you may have remembered from the last episode, Taunt completely shut down our Game 3 opponent. So I like the idea of being able to shut down Porygon immediately. Now, one thing they could do is lead Togekiss Porygon, but this is where Aleki also comes in handy because I can just T-Bolt the Togekiss, and they're not Wakam Berry. I think we might just one-shot it. So, let's see. Either way, thanks so much as always for watching Road to Ranked. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like, and thanks once again to Into the AM for sponsoring today's video as well. Okay, I'm not in love with this. It's Togekiss plus the Metagross. So the question here is whether or not Togekiss is Protect, because if it doesn't and I just cleanly KO it, that really sets up Dragapult and Metagross for the late game, right? But if Togekiss has Protect, things get a little bit dicey here. I think I want to switch the Lele out at a Dragapult right now. I could go for a Protect. It's just, what are the odds their Togekiss is Protect? Honestly, I would say decently high. So I could Protect to get around it. What's the worst case? I guess they Max Quake into Aleki and then get a special defense boost and then we can't KO them. I guess one thing I didn't mention is this also totally could be Bullet Punch Metagross into Weakness Policy Togekiss, but that feels like a Series 1 strat. Okay, so they are going to Dynamax. Let's see who they max. I mean, if it is Policy Togekiss, it's not even that scary, to be honest. It should be Metagross, right? Yeah. So the big question here is whether or not Togekiss protects turn 1. If it doesn't, I actually think we're in really good shape if we pick up the KO onto it. I don't know. I guess Protect is probably just the safer call here. Okay, they go for follow me. Perfect. But I also just don't know how many Togekisses really are running Protect these days. I feel like it's like relatively slim. They're not Wakamberry either, so that's really, really good for us. We get the T-Bolt off, and it's Sash? Huh, okay. You know, that's fine though. If you knock out a Lecky and I get Mamo, I just surf Max Quake. And this should be going into a Lecky, right? Alright, perfect. This actually works out really well for us. I think it's just surf Max Quake here. Yeah, I see very little reason to not go for that. I mean, if we had KO'd the Togekiss, I could just go for Will-O-Wisp. But it being Focus Sash means we obviously can't. But I think Surf here KOs the Togekiss. They're probably not expecting Surf, to be honest. And actually, like, if this is, you know, standard Dragapult, you're thinking, hey, my Togekiss is in an amazing spot. But we actually have Surf to finish it off. Because if it were a standard Dragapult, we'd be Dragon Darts, Phantom Force, Fly. So we actually wouldn't be able to even KO the Togekiss here. But I think we can just go Surf Max Quake here. I think that should be enough to KO the Metagross. I guess I'm nervous about Togekiss pivoting out into Incineroar. You intimidate us, and then the Metagross is bulky enough to take the +1 Max Quake. And I guess the smallest amount of chip damage from Surf. But I actually think we're in really good shape right now if we KO the Metagross, which I think we would. So let's see. And I do think it's pretty unlikely they like pivot out into Incineroar here as well. So yeah. I feel pretty good about our spot. Okay, they don't switch out, which is perfect. So ideally we just get the KO. Onto Togekiss. I guess you could max guard the Metagross here, but if you max guard it and we KO Togekiss, then my Dragapult's free to do whatever in the subsequent turn. I guess there's not really much Dragapult can do if they have if they bring in Feeny. But let's see. I just don't think they're going to anticipate the weakness policy stuff here. Perfect. Perfect. So this should just be a double KO here, and this is finally just Mamoswine at its finest. As long as we outspeed the Metagross, I guess that's the problem. If they're actually just faster with the Metagross and they just Steel Spike Mamoswine, it's a disaster. But I think Mamoswine should outspeed here, so let's see. Togekiss is gone. Brilliant. We get the Max Quake. +2 Max Quake. That's a double KO. Their Dynamax, they don't have any more Dynamax to play towards. That should just be game over at this point. What do they have in the back? Zapdos, Feeny, Incineroar, Porygon. All of those lose to Mamoswine. Like, Mamoswine kind of 1v6s this matchup. But we had to get the proper setup for it, right? Like, I don't think I can just lead the Dragapult plus the Mamoswine, because what am I going to do? I guess I could serve Steel Spike and then hope to survive a Steel Spike from their end. But, like, if Togekiss had Babiri Berry or Protected turn 1, then, like, they're in a much better position. So I really think Lele was essential just in case they led Porygon, because if Trick Room goes up against this team, we kind of just lose. So it's going to be Feeny and Zapdos in the back. Okay, no problem for me here. Dragapult's pretty much, I don't say useless, but I mean, it does have Ally Switch, so that's like the main advantage. Also, we got a special defense boost. There's just no way my opponent can deal with this Mamoswine at this point, especially with Thick Fat. So what do we want to go for? Honestly, I think I'm down to just Will-O-Wisp the Zapdos, put it on a timer, and then just Quake into the Feeny slot here. Zapdos is not going to be able to touch the Mamoswine, right? Especially with the special defense boost and Thick Fat. So Feeny probably protects here, but like, there's no reason not to target Feeny at this point in the game. You know, I could actually have switched the Dragapult out into Lele so that I get a special defense boost from Max Quake. I actually think that might have been the better play, but that's fine. I could also go for Breaking Swipe here, but I like the idea of just, you know, getting guaranteed chip damage on Zapdos on a turn-to-turn basis. And yep, they just go for Heat Wave, and you can see how good Thick Fat plus the special defense boost is for us there. And they're actually Life Orb Zapdos and practically did no damage to Mamoswine. So we get the Max Quake off. That should be a one-hit KO, and yeah, that should just be game. So the main thing that was good for us here was that Alecki didn't have Protect. If Alecki protects turn 1, this is a completely different match, because then I don't bring you down to your Focus Sash. Meaning that then you can go for a safe follow me, then I'd probably serve Steel Spike and then go from there. Now, I think even if Alecki had Protect, we had pivoted ourselves into a position where Mamoswine really was just in a position to sweep this entire game. But I think the one thing we really had to watch out for in this matchup was Incineroar Porygon lead with Metagross in the back. Because, like, Incineroar Porygon, Metagross Feeny was the 4 that I was most worried about. Because if I don't lead Lele into Incineroar or Porygon, it's very easy for them to just click Fake Out Trick Room. And the best answer into the Porygon is probably the Choice Band Urshifu, but obviously Incineroar slows it down a little bit, or I guess decreases its attack via Intimidate, right? So close combat from Choice Band Urshifu at -1 isn't going to KO that Porygon. So I need to lead Lele because it hard punishes Incineroar plus Porygon, right? Like you can't click Fake Out there unless you switch Porygon out into Tapu Fini, meaning I deny you Trick Room on turn 1. So yeah. Just go for Breaking Swipe and Hailstorm here, and that should be the game. Mamoswine was amazing here, though, so I'm very, very happy about it. Because, I mean, the last episode we ended up getting a bunch of wins, right? But one, I feel like I didn't play incredibly well. Like, both, I think, the first and the second game, it felt like very possible that we could have lost them. And two, like, Mamoswine was good, but, I mean, this was the perfect demonstration of how good Mamoswine can be, right? Like, my opponent didn't really have any good damage to threaten it. Their best damage was going to be from Fini, like Incineroar to an extent. I wouldn't even say Incineroar, to be honest, but because of Thick Fat. So it would be obviously Metagross and Fini, but the upside is that Mamoswine can outspeed those. And Metagross has really had a resurgence in the metagame, to be honest. So that's one other reason, like, I really, really like this team, is because so many players are actually using Metagross once again. So the Mamoswine can obviously counter it quite nicely. Let's check the sets. So there's Weakness Policy, 90 speed, Zapdos with Life Orb, as we saw. Leftovers, Tapu Fini. No Calm Mind here. Nature's Madness, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, they really had no chance of winning, even if they protected the Tri Max Quake. Like, the Mamoswine just completely walls at that point after a single special defense boost. We would have gotten 2 off, right? We already had 1 from the Max Quake into Metagross. Classic Citrus, Incineroar. Now, fortunately for us, so they actually had Protect on the Togekiss here, but they didn't go for it. Yeah. So that was actually a really big deal. I think if they had just gone for Protect turn 1 and Max Quaked into a Lucky, this would have been a very different game. So even though we won this pretty decisively, I'm not sure I love my, like, the line that I took. Pretty interesting, by the way. Wow, no Recover Porygon, triple offense, Tri-Attack, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Modest, Download. That is really cool. The Shadow Ball also makes sense, right? Because it allows you to self-activate the Weakness Policy with the Metagross. So I don't know. I'm trying to think how we can play this safely with them having Protect. And I guess it would be Dragapult Mammal. Nah, but then you would probably just Protect turn 1. Let's Surf Steel Spike. We get a defense boost, but I take so much damage still from the Surf and the Steel Spike regardless. I'm just trying to think if there's a really safe lead against Togekiss Metagross where they Protect with Togekiss on turn 1. I'm not sure I really see it, to be honest. Especially because they're Focus Sash. The Focus Sash changes things dramatically, so that's a good example of a game of how, like, things can swing very differently based off the item choice and and how turn 1 played out, right? Like, getting rid of redirection is so crucial for us because obviously, you know, once Togekiss was down, Mamoswine just freely threaded Metagross and the rest of the team. But if Togekiss protected turn 1, that would definitely be a pretty different game. And I can't think of the top of my head a safe lead combo that covers for Togekiss Metagross with Togekiss protecting on turn 1. So I gotta give that some thought. But let's get into the next game here. Alright, next game here, and pretty similar stuff to the last one, actually. Togekiss Metagross once again. But I'm not as incentivized to lead. Like, once again, it's Togekiss protecting the Metagross that scares me so much. Well, I guess now I'm forced to think of what a good answer to that last game would have been. Lucky Urshifu, T-Bolt Wicked Blow right away. Lele is not nearly as essential because I don't need to taunt. Lele still helps though if they lead Grimmsnarl, right? So maybe I just go with the same 4. It does feel weird to not bring Urshifu though, because by going with that combo, I leave myself really weak to the Metagross. Yeah, I'm not sure Lele is it. Okay, I'm gonna go Lucky Urshifu, Mamo. I guess there's room for Whimsicott here in this one. But I think I still like Dragapult because like Breaking Swipe gets a little bit of chip damage onto Landorus. Yeah, can Will-O-Wisp as well. So we'll see. But I don't think this is an easy matchup by any means. Mainly because Metagross is just such a bulky Pokemon to begin with, and then when you add redirection support, Intimidate from Landorus, it all adds up pretty quickly. The cool thing about Mamoswine is it often actually dissuades your opponent from bringing the Intimidators because they expect it to be oblivious rather than Big Fat. Wow, that is not the lead I was expecting. Okay. A Lucky Lele would have crushed it here, but it's still fine. We do have Poison Jab on the Urshifu. But I honestly feel like I should switch out here. Debating maxing the Alecki here, honestly. Also, like, does this mean you're offensive Togekiss? That would make a lot of sense. Like, I like the idea of going for Electro Web here. Togekiss maxing isn't a big threat because we have Mamoswine. So, honestly, I'm thinking of just going for Electro Web and Poison Jab here onto Grim. I think that's okay, actually. So, let's see if they max. Alright, just go for Light Screen. That's fine. Although, I guess this means I could have maybe KO'd the Togekiss instead. But if I eliminate Grimmsnarl, this means you don't have Reflect Up, right? Meaning that Mamoswine has a really easy time in this game. I don't know if Bandu Poison Jab KOs from this range, though. I think I'd rather get rid of Grimmsnarl so that they don't have Reflect. Okay, beautiful. That gets the KO. Nice. And I'm guessing just a Dazzling Gleam here, which should eliminate the Urshifu, but it allows me to get a free switch in into Mamoswine. Okay. I guess, or I could just bring in Dragapult, right? And then T-Bolt Will-O-Wisp. Assuming Metagross comes out right now. We do have weakness policy on this thing. So if they Steel Spike us, they'll activate our policy. I think I'm going to go Dragapult here, but I guess it's a little bit risky. Maybe it was better to just eliminate Togekiss turn 1 and let them get Reflect Up. Yeah, it is Metagross coming in here. I just don't know if T-Bolt KOs through Light Screen here. I think it's close. If it doesn't, we're actually in a lot of trouble, I think. But I'm going to go for the T-Bolt here and just the Will-O-Wisp here onto Metagross. And then go from there. Okay, so they're going to max. I mean, if we get this burn off, I think it's game over. If we KO the Togekiss and then burn the Metagross, Dragapult Metagross should sweep this end game. Because your Dynamax Pokemon will be at -2 attack effectively, whereas I'll be at neutral, and I outspeed and have super effective damage into you. But yeah, didn't expect to see so many Togekiss Metagrosses in like back-to-back games. I almost thought about maxing Lecky here, but I feel like that's kind of troll. They didn't even go for Follow Me. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess they were just Dazzling Gleaming here. Please don't miss the Will-O-Wisp Dragapult. Okay, nice. Please don't be a Lumberry now. Let's see. Brilliant. Brilliant. That should secure us the game. They actually Steel Spike. I don't even know if that KOs with the burn. No, it does not. Alecki has a little bit of bulk here, which is actually very, very nice for us. So we take those. Okay. Now it's 3-2. What you're bringing in? Feeny. Perfect. Yeah, the thing is, they didn't, like, you couldn't even switch Togekiss out into, well, they had Light Screen up, actually, so you could have. Togekiss swap into Feeny there would have been really bad, but I think my opponent was just fully expecting me to be Dynamax Dragapult in that position, which makes a lot of sense, right? So, at this point, we should win the game with Mamoswine as long as Dragapult doesn't faint. So, let me just oh, no, I don't want to max here. Let me just Thunderbolt here into the Tapu Fini slot. I don't want to surf myself in case for some reason they target Dragapult rather than the Alecki. So I'm just going to Breaking Swipe here. I just don't think there's like a better play to go for. And, you know, ideally they just protect Feeny. Yep. Protect Feeny, knock out Alecki, give me a free switch in into Metagross, and then, into Mamoswine, and I can just surf Max Quake into Feeny. Yeah. That works for me. I don't want to throw the game. It's actually very possible to throw the game. Imagine if I, like, switch Alecki out into Metagross in that position, right? At this point, like, Metagross should just win us the game. Now, they do go for a Steel Spike on, so I wonder if the Feeny now can survive a +1 Max Quick. I actually think that's decently likely. Still, though, I guess I could have protected Alecki there, baiting the Protect on Feeny, but nah, that's fine, I think. I'd be surprised if Feeny took the +1 Max Quake, but I don't know. I guess the other thing like I'm slightly nervous about now is potentially getting crit. But I think we just go for the Max, we go for the Quake here, and we go for the Surf. Yeah, I just didn't expect to run into 2 Togekiss Metagross teams back-to-back. Like, that's pretty surprising. But works for me. If anything, I think it's actually, well, I wouldn't say it's an amazing matchup. It's very dependent on the Togekiss item, to be honest. But the good thing is that our opponent led really passively in this game, and so we had an early lead, and this team loves early leads, I think, because, especially because, like, we conserved our Dynamax, even got the burn on Metagross, so, like, all of that was perfect for us. Okay. There's the Surf. Yeah, question is whether or not we can actually KO the Feeny with that special defense boost. Or sorry, the defense boost. We're faster though, which is good. If this doesn't KO, things get a lot more interesting. Ooh, it doesn't KO. Okay. That's a little scary. That is definitely a little bit scary. Now, we do have a special defense boost and they're burned, so we should survive a Muddy Water. Oh, they actually go for a Moonblast. Alright, that works for me. Surprised they didn't Muddy there. We have the Citrus here. Metagross definitely shouldn't one-shot either of these two Pokemon, but yeah, Feeny being bulky enough there to actually survive is a little less than ideal, I would say. They're going to go for a third Steel Spike onto Mamo here. It's a lot of damage still, TBH. But I think Max Quake should still just KO Metagross right now. Their leftovers Tapu Fini. I mean, the problem here is that Dragapult doesn't do damage in the late game, right? Basically does nothing. We still have 2 turns of Dynamax to work for and 2 special defense boosts. This thing's at +2 defense now. +3 defense. It's probably better to just KO Feeny here, right? Like, I can Steel Spike, get a defense boost. I'm just nervous about Metagross surviving the Max Quake with the defense boost. And then me activating Weakness Policy. Like, that would be really bad, right? So I expect Feeny to protect here. Really should protect, right? Yeah, I'm gonna Steel Spike here. Oh, I like Ally Switch a lot here, because I don't think Dragapult really offers me much more right now anyway. Oh, did Feeny not protect? If that's the case, then we should win the game, I think. Okay, perfect. Wait, assuming this KOs. I mean, it's so low, it's got to, right? Okay. So now, even if your Metagross' Weakness Policy, Max Quake into EQ should KO. They'd have to call the Ally Switch here and crit with an Iron Head / Meteor Mash to win the game right now, I think. Yeah, and they just target the Mammal slot. Perfect. Yeah, with that defense boost, that practically does nothing, and getting Feeny out of the way is the most important thing, because I can at least, like, do damage into Metagross with Dragapult, whereas with Feeny, I just can't at all. So, yeah. I just go for a Breaking Swipe now, and a Max Quake. I think that's fine. Don't want to Surf to chip damage. Metagross could still win this because I think it could maybe survive a Max. I don't know. Metagross is just such a bulky Pokemon. And it got 3 defense boosts, allowing it to actually stick around for a little bit longer. But I think I have to Max Quake here. Otherwise, I'm wasting my Mamoswine's potential. Alright, that's enough to KO. Yeah, I don't know the calc on that off the top of my head. But I think Ally Switch plus Steel Spike was relatively foolproof. And fortunately for us, Feeny didn't protect, which made my life a lot easier. But I think they were hoping to survive with the Mamoswine from the Quake. And then just pick up a KO onto the Mamoswine that turn with like Muddy Water plus Meteor Mash, which honestly makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah, didn't really think we'd run into 2 Togekiss Metagross teams in a row, but you can see why this Mamoswine plus Dragapult combo is really nice into Metagross. And like I said, Metagross has definitely seen a surge in popularity recently. Obviously, it was one of the most dominant Pokemon throughout all of Sword and Shield VGC since it was introduced to the game, but now it, definitely kind of like fell off just a little bit, I feel like, and then now it's just come back in full force. So yeah, but that was definitely a fun one, so let's look for another game. All right, third match of the day, and it's another Metagross. What is happening here? Okay. This is what I was saying, though. It's Metagross really making a comeback. It's going to be Bulldoze, most likely, into Weakness Policy from the Entei stuff. Now, they have Whimsicott. That concerns me a little bit. You got Whimsicott. I don't know how to approach this one. I guess they could just theoretically lead Entei Metagross. Metagross without the Weakness Policy is not that scary. I just kind of expect the Whimsicott lead, so like I feel forced to bring my Whimsicott to match their Tailwind, but like, you know what I actually think? I think Whimsicott plus... I'm just gonna say Whimsicott Urshifu in case they lead Metagross and I just start the game with a Wicked Blow. That'd be pretty good. The only thing that makes me nervous is if I bring Whimsicott and Dragapult, like, it's so easy for Urshifu to faint. Like, they don't have any electric resist, but Lecky doesn't do that much for us here. Do I really bring Dragapult as well? I don't love that. This might be a mistake. I'm bringing Lecky, and like this makes it a lot harder for me to activate the weakness policy, but like that last game was really scary to me because like if we didn't have such a big early lead, I guess it wasn't even that big of an early lead, but it was it was a pretty big lead. Like we knocked out 2 Pokemon in 2 turns and burnt the Metagross, right? So yeah. But what makes me a little bit scared here is the fact that I feel like I don't have that much offense. They go Whimsicott Metagross. Okay, that's actually what I was kind of hoping to see, to be honest. Especially because we're banded, so I'm down to activate their weakness policy if it means a banded Wicked Blow. And the only way they get around this is if they switch out the... I guess they could just switch Metagross out into Feeny, but... I could even Helping Hand Wicked Blow instead of Tailwinding. Nah, I have to Tailwind here. Because there's a very good chance they just Moonblast. So, I'm down to just Tailwind Wicked Blow. Feeny's switch in here makes a lot of sense from the Metagross slot. I guess if they go for that, then... No, it's still fine, right? Because then if you knock out my Urshifu, I get the free switch in into the Mamo, and I can just absorb at max. But I don't have Taunt. Oh, they stay in. Perfect. I wanted to Helping Hand Wicked Blow so bad there, but I think we have to Tailwind here. Because, like, they have 2 plays, right? Their first play is to Tailwind with Whimsicott and then attack with the Metagross, and their second is to just Moonblast us. And either way... we don't get away unless they max guard here. That would actually be a very good play. Let's see if they go for that. Okay, perfect. This is actually very good for us, I would say. Because I get a huge chunk of damage onto your Dynamax Pokemon. And yeah, you're probably weakness policy, but the policy doesn't matter too much here. Oh my goodness, that was almost a one-hit KO. Okay, fantastic. So it's like, yeah, I activated your policy, but you're going to be slower than what I have in the back. So I'm just going to KO you anyway. And they actually go for Hailstorm. Okay. Now, this means I won't be able to activate the weakness policy. Oh, I guess that actually makes things a little bit awkward here, doesn't it? Because you can just max guard Metagross now and then Moonblast into the Urshifu slot. I am glad I didn't bring the Dragapult in the back, I have to say. You know what's wild? I actually really want to bring in a Lecky. And Max Strike Wicked Blow Whimsicott. What's the alternative? They should know we're banded, so they should know we can't Sucker Punch. So if I bring something out, you would want to just Protect and Moonblast. Alright, well, I think I want to bring a Lecky here regardless. I just wonder if Electroweb KOs Metagross from that range. The thing about going for the Max Strike place, it's really risky if the Metagross actually does not Protect here. Dynamax Lecky is not a bad idea here, though. It's not. I guess I just don't know if Max Strike into Wicked Blow even KOs, especially because we are timid here. Does Metagross survive an Electro Web from that range? I think it's so close, but I think it might. I actually risk losing both Pokemon here. Okay, I'm going to Electro Web Wicked Blow the Metagross. If they Protect... Oh, they don't Protect. Okay. Oh, okay, this was the best case scenario then. Nice. We get the KO onto Metagross, and we get a Wicked Blow off. And now I have Mamoswine to play towards in the end game. I don't think Wicked Blow's one-shotting here, unfortunately, though. But nice decision to Hailstorm, rather than go for, like, a Steel Spike onto Urshifu. I actually think if they just, like, KO'd Urshifu and I got the free switch in... Is that a KO? Oh, my goodness. Choice Band Urshifu is disgusting. What? I mean, I feel like that puts us in a fantastic position now. Wow. Okay, we take those. Definitely wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I get it. Alright, gives us time for a quick fourth one, though, so we'll take it, but that's hilarious. That's hilarious. What do we got? Alakazam Lele. That's awesome. I'm honestly rooting for my opponent here. They also have a Mamoswine, which is sick. It's a really cool team. It's interesting to see, yeah, us actually have 3 of the same 6 in Mamo, Lele, and Whimsicott. Their Mamo's scary. Their Lele is scary. I mean, everything is scary. I have no idea how to approach this. I have no idea. Like, Dragapult gets dunked on so hard. The only reason I'd want to bring is to burn the 2 physical attackers. Yeah, this is a really hard one. I think I'm going to go Whimsicott, Alecki, Mamoswine. At least we have Thick Fat. And Lele? Do I really bring Lele over Urshifu? The problem is if I don't bring Lele, their Rillaboom concerns me a little bit. Lele's... I don't know. This is a really hard matchup. Or not hard matchup, I guess. I just don't know what to do immediately. I don't see a clear path here. And that's always one of the upsides of using like unexpected combos like Alakazam plus Lele. So that's a really cool team for my opponent. So yeah, I'm rooting for them. I always say, you know, I love going up against stuff like we don't get to see very often because it's a win-win for me. You know, I either obviously win, which is like great, winning is great, or I lose to a team that I think is really cool. That is a very, very bad lead for us to go into. Like, as bad as it gets. Yeah, this is not looking good. I might get beat by our own medicine here. Now, we do have at least the banded close combat in the back. Oh, man, this is terrible. I'll Tailwind and Electro Web. I got hard outlet here. How do I even lead against Whimsicott Mamo here, though? Yeah, if you're from my perspective. It would be to bring the Dragapult to burn the Mamo. Like, it would be Whimsicott Dragapult. They don't Dynamax, which is a smart decision. Are they just EQ Moonblasting here? That'd be a very cool play. They also stagger their Tailwind, which is smart, but I think I have to Tailwind here. Okay, they just go for Ice Cold Crash. So at least Alecki survives the turn. I guess I'll take it. Curious, what is it? Life Orb Mamo? It could be Weakness Policy as well with the Whimsicott. Holy cow! It's doomed. It's over. GG. No way. I did not have a safe play against this lead. Like, if I did, I would have to be top. That is so wild. I would have never guessed Trick Room given the team comp either, because there's nothing on the team that's super slow. So I'm guessing the Trick Room here is actually to help out against opposing Trick Rooms, right? But in this case, it makes sense to go for a move like that. I don't see how we come back from this now. Especially because I Tailwind. If I didn't Tailwind, like, maybe we had a chance. That's just a game-winning play on turn 1, straight up. Kudos. I don't know what we can do. I'm going to be honest. I think we just lose. That play made absolutely no sense, obviously, but if I were my opponent, I would Moonblast EQ. They're probably like, what in the world is this guy doing? I guess I could have actually got an attack off there. Oh, they had Dazzling. Okay. I don't know what we can do. Okay. We can still pull out the comeback with our Mamoswine. So let's not give up, because our Mamoswine has max Steel Spike, and it's actually likely that they don't have Steel Spike on theirs. So we're not giving up yet. We're not giving up yet. But what a play turn 1. Man, are they going to be weakness policy here? If they're actually our weakness policy, this is just definitely doomed. It's already kind of doomed because if they have Rillaboom in the back, like, I'm going to max Mamo and then their Rillaboom just comes in and dunks on us. But I think here I'm going to go for the max. I'm going to Steel Spike and then E-Speed into the Mamo and hope we can pick up a KO onto it. But if they are Dynamax Mamoswine with weakness policy and they have the Absorber Giga Drain on their own Whimsicott, it's kind of doomed. And they're maxing. I don't love seeing that. We got beat by our own medicine. But hey, kudos to them because they identified the best possible lead and made the best possible play on turn 1 as well. If we had taunt turn 1, it would be a slightly different game, but I don't know. I like felt compelled to lead Aleki because they had so much speedy stuff like Whimsicott, Lele, Alakazam, all of that good stuff. But this was already bad. Like even if they didn't Trick Room, this was already going to be bad. But they had the Trick Room, which is sick. How do I beat Whimsicott Mammo lead? Opposing Tailwind is just kind of tricky for this team, especially because opposing Whimsicotts can actually do a lot of damage with Moonblast and just Fairy-type damage. Okay, E-Speed for the smallest chip. And they're going to Quake. I guess the good thing is that, like, even if they are weakness policy, it's not like it gets activated immediately. This is it winnable? They just Dazzle? Okay. Well, I do get a defense boost this way. It's just me setting up Tailwind is so bad. If we didn't have Tailwind set up, I actually also could have maybe taken the opportunity to KO Whimsicott there. Because then, like the problem is now Whimsicott just dunks on my and their weakness policy. Yeah, I should have KO'd Whimsicott there with the Steel Spike. Because then I at least get to bring out the Urshifu and get to play with the Urshifu. But now Urshifu just goes bye-bye. And weakness policy makes so much sense, right? You're going to run the Sash on the Whimsicott. If Mammo's not Sash or Life Orb, what else are you going to run, really? Well played. Well played. I mean, I really don't see an out here. If Tailwind were expired, there'd be a slight chance. But it's not. I guess crit Sucker Punch onto this thing, maybe? Yeah, that's probably our best bet. Crit the Sucker Punch. KO the Whim. They probably have Rillaboom in the back either way, but yeah. I don't know. I think Crit Sucker Punch actually maybe does enough, but it was actually pretty darn close. They Hailstorm, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you just Dazzle. If I actually KO'd Whimsicott, maybe we had a chance. Nah, but then you would just go for your max move onto Urshifu instead, I think. And I can't protect in front of that. Yeah. Surely they have Rillaboom in the back as well. The Aleki, I can't lead Aleki into Whimsicott Mammo. It just, like, puts me in such a bad position. Now, I was never going to see Trick Room coming, but either way, yeah. How do I beat Whimsicott Mamoswine as a lead? Like I said, I think it's Dragapult, but even if I go Whim Dragapult, they could just protect Trick Room turn 1. So then I can pressure with offense. Whim Lele, Whim Mammo. I guess I could just... Yeah, actually... maybe it was just my Whimsicott plus Mamoswine. But then if they go like Whimsicott Charizard, it's still pretty bad. Because then you can just Sunny Day, G-Max Wildfire, and they have Rillaboom in the back, yeah. Against like the specific combo my opponent brought, if I were to replay this, I would just go Whim Mammo, I think. But I don't know, I was never going to see Trick Room coming. And Trick Room is so good into our team comp. 2 turns, +2 defense. Last turn of Trick Room. I mean, there's no way we can win at this point. You just launch an attack with both of your Pokemon. Yeah. Well played. Well played. It's cool to see the weakness policy Mamoswine trending upwards, though. Yeah, we survived there. But without the ability to change the terrain, doesn't make a difference. But if we actually crit the Mamoswine with Sucker Punch, I think we would have won this. No, not necessarily. Because it'd still be a 2v1. And they actually outspeed us with their Mamoswine anyway. I guess I could have max guarded, but it doesn't make a difference here when you have 2 Pokemon that can both KO my Mamoswine. So, definitely a sad note to end things on, given how dominant Mamoswine was for this team. But my opponent played that perfectly, and that was a combination of the element of surprise with the Trick Room, my opponent outleading me, and then them making all the right plays as well, basically. So, yeah. Yeah, if I were to play that again, I don't know. I would lead Whimsicott Mammo, but I don't know if I'd ever double onto their Whimsicott turn 1, because I feel pressure to Tailwind against the Whimsicott Mirror. So, to be honest, like that's a matchup where I think I lose most of the time in a best of 1, because I'm just never going to anticipate Trick Room. Trick Room is so rare on Whimsicott, but, you know, you can still run it. It's not like so crazy till the point where you never see it. Like I said, often you actually see it because people like to use it to reverse opposing Trick Rooms, but it can also work in this scenario where when you have both Trick Room and Tailwind, you have more flexibility, right? Whereas here, I am basically always going to click Tailwind on turn 1 unless I specifically know that you have Trick Room. But yeah, that was definitely a really fun set of games, and I absolutely love this team. So once again, thanks to TSL Sang for the team. They've created, like I said, so many of my favorite teams on Road to Rank this last year and a half. So huge kudos to them. Give them a follow on Twitter. They're always coming up with really innovative best of 1 teams, and they're always climbing really high on the ladder as well. So always a pleasure to feature one of their teams. And yeah, I mean, this team, wildly enough, is like not as crazy as some of the other teams they've built, right? Whether it be the physical Zekrom team, what was it? The physical Regieleki team. Like that was like the first time I'd even seen Dynamax physical Eleki, right? Which was wild. Like and then now, you know, that it became slightly more popular after that, as well as the Swagger physical Feeny team. So yeah, really fun stuff. Always a pleasure. So thanks so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to answer the question of the day. Just kidding. There's no question of the day. Don't forget to check out Into the AM down there. And I guess if there is a question of the day, yeah, have you tried out this team and what do you think about it? What do you think about Mamoswine in the meta? And yeah, I'll catch you all next time. All right. Peace.